And we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Jen Sugarmeyer, your host of Mindset in the Morning, where we get together 5 days a week at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time to talk about all things mindset. And we talk about real things that happen in your life so that as you walk out the day, that you come just in your most powerful state of being so that you know how to bob and weave. I'm a boxer, and sometimes I feel like that's how life is as well. That, we're constantly just bobbing and weaving. You turn on the news and, your kids or your husband or your spouse or your job or your friends or the traffic, whatever is going on, but you're constantly dodging all of these things that are happening. And the truth is, our mind is the most powerful resource that we have. And so knowing how to engage it will help us to be able to not get punched in the face. We're able to go through life with more ease. Now, we're always susceptible to things that are around us. And that's why it's so critical for us to be in tune with ourselves so that we can catch these things as they arrive. Yesterday, we were talking about mindset and mental health and how I really don't see the delineation between the two. You can't separate them entirely, because when you have a solid mind, a solid mindset, then that will help you to stay in good mental health. And we all have mental health. Even though it's this word, it's this phrase that there's a lot of kind of stigma around. Ooh, you have mental health. Yeah, we all have mental health. So none of us are omit from this thing called mental health. But how do we stay in a good mental health? And the CDC reports that after COVID, 40% of the population, 40, that's almost half. That's 4 out of 10. That's 2 out of 5 people that you see that are dealing with something. And mental health doesn't just mean the kind of the bigger things, the things, from like The Beautiful Mind, or the movie from, I think that was the 90s, schizophrenia, bipolar, borderline personality disorder. Yeah, those are mental health. Those are mental health issues, but same as depression. And so when we know how to deal with things, then we can move through life with more ease. So let's say you walk up and ask somebody out and they say no. What if you just sat with those feelings and internalized them and didn't do anything about them? And then maybe you got laid off from your job. Now you have a rejection and a failure. Now, I'm not saying that this is rejection or failure, because there's ways that we can start to look at these and say, you know what? You weren't meant to be with that person in the beginning. Like, that's not even your type. So just move on. If that person doesn't value you, then why is it worth your energy? The person doesn't value you. Bye, done. You empower yourself. But in that moment, if you don't engage the right mindset, it can feel heavy. And if you keep that weight on you, that's when we start to go into that state of depression. When you get laid off from your job, you say, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm so overwhelmed by all of these feelings. Was this against me? Was there something, I could have done better, whatever that may be? And let's say you don't do anything with those feelings and you just sit with them and you're really angry or you're resentful with the company, oh, I can't believe they did this to me. And, you just, every time you think of your boss, you get really, really angry, and you're not doing anything about it. You're just getting angry, or you're in resentment, or you're in fear. This is when you are a prime candidate for poor mental health, for whatever varying degree. So it's important that we take care of our mind. And that's what we talk about here on Mindset in the Morning. And so today I want to focus on, do you have a mindset problem? And the way you know if you have a mindset problem is, are you in these states of suffering? And, I don't think feeling things are bad. I absolutely don't. I think pain is designed to tell us something about ourselves. I believe that we are to learn from the pain, but it's what are we doing with it? If we feel the pain and we sit with it, that's entirely different than it motivating us. So, a couple weeks ago, and I'm only going to use this because I've talked about it enough that if you follow me, hopefully you've seen this. I was on a boat a few weeks ago, and it was a very so bunch of influencers on this boat, and they were having some what do you call that? Auction. They were doing an auction, and people were like, oh yeah, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, 175,000. People just, I'm like, wow. Like, because by the way, I don't even like to gamble. I'm like, I'm not spending $20. So I definitely was out on the whole, like, let me bid on a piece of artwork for over $175,000. Yeah, I'm out. Um, and I don't know, when I was on this boat, there was something about it that I felt a little out of place, and I felt uncomfortable. And I had to reflect on what was going on in that moment. And I made the decision. It was literally as soon as I got off the boat. I didn't really think about it in the moment. I wasn't trying to dissect, like, why do I feel this way? But as soon as I got off the boat, as soon as my feet hit the ground, and I was walking back to my hotel, I said, okay, Jen, what was going on there? What were those emotions telling me? And how do I get better? How do I improve? Because I don't want to feel uncomfortable. And that was weird for me because I don't get uncomfortable around people. I really don't have trouble talking to anybody. That's that's one of the things that I really pride myself in, that I love talking to people and hearing their stories and getting to know them. And for whatever reason, I felt a little odd on this boat, and I still haven't pinpointed it exactly, but I acknowledge it, and now it's time to grow from it. But if I just had those feelings and I allowed them to ruminate within me, if every morning I woke up and I said, not just making this stuff up, if every morning I woke up and I said, oh man, I'm such a failure. Man, I missed my opportunity to really show up powerfully. I suck. I'm never going to get this. Okay. It could be one thing that I said. Oh man, those people in that room, they just had so much money, and gosh, I'll never get there. I'm so jealous of them. I wanted to participate, but man, that could be a feeling that somebody could walk out from that. Um, you may feel embarrassed. Man, I didn't even want to say how much money I made, or, how my business is doing, because man, it was, I'm just not where these people are. I'm so embarrassed. So there's all kinds of feelings that you can get in any situation. I'm just coming up with a few of these that come to the top of my mind. Maybe I was stressed out. Gosh, like, will I ever get there? Oh, or I'm seeing all this money bouncing around, and maybe I have issues with money. And so that stresses me out because I don't even like to gamble, or whatever that may be. But if I just sit with those emotions and I'm not allowing them to do what they're designed to do, which I will get there, if I'm not allowing them to do what they're designed to do, then I'm in a state of suffering. And that's when you know that you have a mindset problem. Because we are designed to be true and authentic to ourselves, to be in flow, to have peace, to have clarity. And when you are showing up and you are not that person, when you are forcing yourself to be something else that you are not, then you have a mindset problem. And this can manifest itself in so many different ways. You trying to be like somebody else, or suppressing your anger and not dealing with it, or just you being you walking through life and feeling like, wow, I have the mental clarity. I'm stepping into my purpose, my why. When you are whole and complete, that's when you know you're on the right track with your mind. And mindset is something that you have to work on every single day. What is the purpose of pain? There's this condition. Let me see if I can find it. And I think it may have changed its name over time because as I was researching it this morning, um, congenial uh, congenital insensitivity to pain. I think that name has changed over time, but it's when you can't feel pain. And I read this book 20 plus years ago, and it was The Purpose of Pain and the reason we have it. And it was such a powerful book. I think that's what it's called, The Purpose of Pain. And you see, if we step on a nail and we don't know that nail is there, then what happens? It could go right through our foot. If you put your hand on a hot stove and you don't know that it's hot, what can happen? You can burn your hand. So there's a reason that we feel pain within our bodies. And that's what triggers us to go to the doctor. That's what tells us we need to take medicine. That's what tells us we need to change our diet. We need to, whatever that may be. When you are feeling something in your body, when you feel this pain, none of us want to feel pain. We don't keep our foot on the nail and say, yeah, this is great. I mean, okay, there's those one or two off people. I'm not talking about them. But we don't want to feel pain. We don't want to get burned. We don't want to get hurt. So when we feel these things, that's when we need to change our behavior. So there is a purpose for why we're feeling that. And that's exactly what we should be doing when we feel these states of suffering. And it could be that you have things under the hood of your life that you need to look at. Because remember, our beliefs create our experiences. I talked about a snake yesterday and how when I saw a snake, I think it was yesterday, when I saw the snake, I was like, oh, but let's peel that back. Why was I so scared? Why was I in that state of suffering? It's because I believe a snake is going to hurt me. That's why. And if I was able to change what I believed, then I could walk by this snake and not have it faze me, because some people can walk by a snake and it doesn't faze them. And it's because they have a different belief than I do. So when these things creep up, like you jump at a snake, you get angry, you're stressed out, something, it's time to peel the hood apart, look under the hood, peel the layers of the onion back, look under the hood and say, what's going on? Is it your beliefs? Is it some unresolved thing that you need to let go? What is causing that? So I don't believe that anger and these feelings that they're bad. It's just, how are you dealing with them? And I legitimately think that anger can be good and that we do need to get it out. And it's, are you channeling it in the right way? That's why I started boxing. I had all of this anger and energy and I didn't know where to put it. So I started kickboxing, which changed into boxing. And I loved it. And it was able for me, I could put a face on the bag, I could whatever, or whomever I was boxing with, and I could just let it out. And for me, that was just such a healthy stress. And what were some of the benefits from that? I got in really good shape. So sometimes there could be anger or an emotion that you use to channel. When I was walking the lake yesterday, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, they have an office around here somewhere, and they had I could see that they had been in the area because I saw some of their material. And I think about them, and there was anger or, sadness, resentment, whatever it was. And they said, okay, you know what? I'm going to take action because people keep dying because of drunk drivers. So these mothers came together, and I'm sure it's more than mothers at this point, but I'm sure it started out as Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And now they have created this organization that brings awareness. And they come with, I'm sure love and compassion, and yeah, there's still some of those feelings, and that helps fuel them. But is it in a positive way? Are they able to get those emotions out? So how do you know if you have a mindset problem? You are in a state of suffering and you have bottled it up and it's festering inside of you. If you don't get anger out, that's when you have a heart attack. That's when you, I should say, are a candidate for it. It doesn't necessarily mean that you will have one. It means that you are more at high risk for having, an ulcer, for, for diabetes. They stem from when we have these things inside of us that we are not able to get out. It's like a little bit, it's like a little tiny flame, like a little tiny flame, and it's just sitting there. And when you're masking it and you can't see it, and all of a sudden it's become this huge thing. And that's when your body starts rejecting, because our body doesn't want toxins inside of it. It doesn't. It wants to be happy. It wants to be free. That's why sometimes bodies will reject. I know when I was a kid, my earrings, they stopped. I could only put gold in my ear, which, for a 17-year-old is an expensive thing for all the earrings I had. But it had to be plated with gold because my body started rejecting just like silver and anything that wasn't gold, because it wasn't something that my body recognized. And because I have sensitive skin, there was that clash. So what do you do from here? What do you do from here? It's becoming aware, catching yourself as things are happening. Are you happening to life, or is life happening to you? When we become in tune with ourselves, when we can acknowledge that, it's like that hand on the stove. Oh, that's hot. That should be how we start to recognize things in our life. Ooh, that didn't feel good. Okay, what's going on internally? Ooh, I feel embarrassed. Why? Why do I believe this? Ooh, I'm scared. What are my beliefs telling me? Ooh, do I need to get this energy out? And what do I channel it into for good? Am I being true and authentic to myself? Or am I trying to copy somebody else, be something that I'm not? When you are you, you are 1 in 8 billion. And if you can be true and authentic to yourself, if you can allow the emotions of stress and anger and fear and frustration and all of these states of suffering to just move through you, when you can catch them and deal with them or use them for your good, then you know that you have a solid mindset. So as you go out today, start to pay attention to these, when you're touching the stove or putting your hand or your foot on a nail. And I'm saying those metaphorically. Start to notice when you have these feelings of suffering that are coming up. Ask yourself, does this serve me? We talked about that on the show. Does it serve me to feel this way? And are you being true and authentic to yourself? Are you in flow with your life? Are you living someone else's? Or do you feel that you've truly stepped into who you are? Be you, with the peace and the clarity. And the way that you're going to get there is by acknowledging these other things that are coming up, these other states of suffering, and working through them. Catch them at the source. So go out today and start to notice where maybe you just need to make some of these small tweaks, because that's all it is. That's all it is, just little millimeter shifts. And you can see the glass half empty to half full. You get to choose. So that's it for me today. That's how you know, do you have a mindset problem or not? And I would love to welcome any conversations around this. You're welcome to email me at higherinheels@gmail.com. That's higherinheels@gmail.com. You can also go out to higherinheels.com and you can contact me through there. If there's a topic you want to talk about, if there is a specific situation that you want to talk through or get coached through, just email me there. This was a topic that someone had asked for me to talk about. So There you go. There we have how do you know if you have a mindset problem? If you've not yet liked, if you've not yet subscribed, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. That helps us grow this algorithm. And we want to touch more lives so that people are going out there every single day being who they were designed to be with a solid mindset so that we are able to bob and weave as life is happening. So go be powerful. Go be that person that you know that you want to be today. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. Same time, same place.